Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. Today we are reviewing last night's episodes of the latest episode of Chucky and the latest episode of American Horror Story. But we will start with Chucky first. And
so this is Season 3, Episode 2, Let the Right One In, which is of course a reference to that vampire movie that I haven't seen. So this movie, this episode, it's like the opposite of last week because, not in a good way, because last week I didn't like the stuff outside the White House, but I really liked the stuff in the White House, and I liked the kid, and I thought, oh, look, they're doing what they did in Season 2 and 1, where they had a really good setup for a story, and then it'll probably get bad at some point. But instead of that, in this episode, Episode 2, I did not like the stuff in the White House or outside the White House, so I didn't like either one. Safi?
It just, with the amount of episodes that they have to do, and I haven't got to look it up yet, but the daughter of Harry Truman, Margaret Truman, wrote about things all about, because she lived in the White House, and I think she might have written, after she was an adult, like Murder in the White House and a bunch of other mystery books about places in Washington. I'll have to look it up. But this story with Chucky could really be a good episode, because at one point they have this investigator named Price who's very shadowy and shady, and he says at one point there's a murderer in the White House, and that could really be a good mystery as well as horror with Chucky. But they're as I said, they don't have enough episodes, and they're exploring gay sex with teenagers.
Yeah, that was pretty gross.
Anything, but just focus
really
on
weird.
It. You don't need to do that.
Like, why did they keep focusing on that so much?
Twice.
Like, it's so weird and abnormal and just gross. Like, not the fact that they're gay, but the fact that they're getting intimate with each other is disgusting, and I don't want to see that at all.
I don't want to see it with any of them. They have a huge, it's a crisis. They have a demonic, I'll just call them, and it's probably not that way, but a demonic figure doll in the White House who could do anything.
Yeah.
Anything to, lately we've been talking about national security, we talk about international security.
Well, I don't, because I don't give a fuck.
Well, that's too bad. But anyway, but here they are. They have this demonic figure. He can go hide in the. They show him after an incident. We won't talk about it yet, or I don't know if we will. But
why can't we just go through the episode like normal? Why are you doing the thing where you just jump around to what you want to talk about?
Well, I just don't understand why they would focus on these other issues when they could be really developing.
We can get to that when we get to that,
okay,
Safi.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I don't care about the episode. You go through it.
Well, the three kids.
Because I don't remember the sequence of events because, we watched 2 episodes of TV, and when you watch 2 episodes, it's like everything kind of blends together.
Okay, well, they have the 3 kids. They're in Washington now with their guardian.
Oh yeah, and that's the hilarious thing is that this episode, there's a lot of assuming that has to go on. Because the kids just magically teleport to Washington, D.C., and they come up with this scheme where the slut Lexi, the mean girl, can get in good with the teenage son, and that can be their way into the White House. And I thought, number one, it's very convenient how this is all happening so fast. It's another thing of like, this is 8 episodes only. And so they're rushing through everything, and it feels forced and contrived, and it doesn't feel natural at all.
It isn't natural.
The fact that this random girl in America just happens to get the attention of the son of a president, and then just magically teleports to Washington. And then we see later on they're in like a hotel room, so I guess
they're at the Watergate.
The biology teacher, even though she knows that they're super behind at school, she just pulls them out and takes them to Washington, D.C. Yeah, that's bad, guys. That's really bad writing. You can't cover for that bad writing because they don't even explore it. Like, they just have the kids just teleport there, and you're supposed to assume that, like, oh, they got there because the biology teacher, you know, the cool mom, she decided that it was, you know, just let's take them to Washington. Because they have to. Because Chucky. That's just stupid. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Alright, Safi? It's another thing of like, oh, really? You didn't bring in a drink? Why don't you leave and go get your juice box?
Marco, if you don't stop it.
Because, like, this is very reminiscent of season 1, where the kids just magically end up in the hospital, and we don't even see what happens at the end of episode 3. We just have to assume that certain things happen because we're told and we're shown the people after the events in episode 3. So that was trash. These kids are just randomly teleported to Washington, D.C., and they're just magically in the good graces of the sun because of her sister, her missing sister. And you notice, too, in the video that she sent to the stoner guy, she didn't do any of that slutty stripper dancing on TikTok. She didn't do that time. She just told him, look, my sister's missing. And it's like, why don't you just do that every time? Like, it just proved that, like, those stripper dances were completely irrelevant, and it was some sort of a bizarro, like, attempt at comedy, I guess? Like, was that what it was?
I don't know. It was maybe another thing, another distraction, another unnecessary element to add that doesn't add, by the way, to the story. The thing that was compelling was that, for her anyway, was to talk about her missing sister, which she doesn't say the circumstances, because that has to do with Chucky, who's in the White House. She doesn't talk about that, of course. And, you know, he lost a brother who is somehow the same age as, who was the same age as his younger brother, like maybe they were twins, or we just don't know the story. All we've heard now, and they mention it again a few times, because she was trying to make an identification with him, with her missing sister, and him losing a brother. So that's all we know about, and that's all that's mentioned. So that's what I mean. They focus on the wrong things.
Yeah.
If they want to do a good story, do a good story. But and focusing on, I don't think people care about that.
And I'm sorry. I really think it's the biggest issue of the show, besides the gay agenda shit and all the agenda shit, whether it's gay or not. But the biggest problem of the show has been how rushed it is, because you can really feel like they only have 8 episodes, so they have to just rush through everything. And there's no development at all. It's like just fuck character development, fuck story development, because we have to get through this, we have to get to that really fast because we only have 8 measly episodes.
Well, it's like being on a game board.
Yeah.
They hop from place to place.
Like Candyland. Like, okay, you rolled the dice, you can roll, you can go 5 spaces instead of 1 space.
It's ridiculous.
And yeah.
So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up too. It's not. I'm not anti-gay. It's just I really don't think it's necessary to the story, and I don't think it's necessary to the character.
No, it's not. It's just heavy-handed agenda bullshit.
You want to have a good story. You want people to give it good reviews. Focus on the story. Storytelling. You've got a good actor who plays Chucky, and you work around that. And then you have these 3 high school characters, and they could be good. And then you have a family in the White House. You have the White House.
Yeah.
A historical place.
And it's like, oh, instead of using the White House, we're going to use the bedroom where we see these 2 teenagers having gay sex with each other.
Well, they don't have sex. They talk about it, and I don't even
Well,
want
it's
to
like,
talk about
it's
it
almost
anymore.
like,
It's just ridiculous.
and it's almost like that's their entire story as characters. Like,
That's not right
remember in
either.
season 1 where Jake was like a bullied kid who, you know, he liked doing artwork, and then remember Devin, he had the whole podcast thing. It's like, instead of that being their character, now their entire characters are, we're gay and we want to have sex with each other.
It's just ridiculous.
That's their whole character.
And besides that, that girl, Lexi, her sister's missing, and that I would say that's a pretty important thing, because she's been missing for almost a year. So, and apparently, she believes, and maybe it's true, Chucky knows where she is. So she does need to get to Chucky, even if for that reason, but he needs to be out of the White House. I have no idea how they're going to handle that. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, so where do we go next?
Well,
Because
go
we're
to the
still
White House.
we're jumping around. Well, at the White House, first off, there's this Chucky is taken to the Oval Office again, and this time this woman, isn't she a secretary? I don't even know what she is.
She's like the main secretary to the president.
Yeah, and she goes in there, and Chucky kills her. And I gotta say, even though this show is terrible, agenda, bullshit, it is really cool to see these kills. The kills are very, very good. And so, in this episode, there's a really cool kill where, oh shit, there's a really cool kill where Chucky slashes this woman's throat open.
I think with the letter opener, right?
And her head basically falls off. And if you guys don't know, that's what O.J. Simpson did to his wife. So this was basically like us getting to see what that looked like. And, well, it's true, remember?
No. Just remember all the blood everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not his fault.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And so, I really love that kill, and it's really too bad that, you know, the writing isn't up to the standard of the kills in this show, because the kills are really good. I mean, these are some of the best kills of the whole series, because they're really bloody, and it's funny too, because they haven't shown like any nudity in the whole series from like you know, what's that girl's name? The Nicotine, or what was that girl's name?
About the poker player?
Yeah, no, the other one. They haven't shown any nudity in the show, but they've shown violence that is basically violence that you'd see in a snuff film. Like, it's pretty hilarious that, like, oh, they can get away with showing all this, like, graphic, bloody violence, but they can't show one nude scene. It's pretty hilarious.
Well, what's really unbelievable is whenever the president is there in the White House, there's these Marines all over the place. I think they stand outside. There's one in the office. And so there's one particular one who stands outside the Oval Office, because the secretary, what happened was she was getting ready to leave for the day. And she goes in there and closes the door, and the Marine is standing outside the door, standing guard or whatever. And that's when she gets attacked by Chucky, because she sees him, because they left him in. He was left in there. The president didn't grab him and take him, or maybe he did. They didn't show him doing that, though he left. The president didn't take him. He was there on the floor, I think. And so she goes over there, and that's when she gets attacked.
Well, Safi, we've already been through that now.
But the thing is, the Marine Guard is standing out there the whole time. And the investigator goes in there the next day and finds her in there. And closes the door and sees her in there. He doesn't say a word. But doesn't he wonder how that could happen when the Marine Guard has been standing there?
He doesn't even think about it. He just says, like, oh, we're dealing with a professional. It's like, yeah, duh.
I just couldn't believe it. I mean, there's no question, there's no... And then he brings the First Lady in there.
And now this is where the story gets trashed. This is where I was like, okay, I am no longer interested in this White House story either.
You know, it's like they're trying to put these little... It's like accessories. They're putting these first the gay thing twice in one episode.
And we'll get to those scenes
and
because
then,
they're bad.
And now we have... He doesn't want her to tell the president. This is his secretary. This is the main secretary. It's like back in Nixon with the Rosemary Woods and her deleting part of the tape, whatever. You remember he had tapes there, and she deleted so many minutes or whatever, and nobody ever has known what was on that missing part. You know, it's all been talked about for a million years. And so this is the secretary to the president, like Rosemary Woods. So, he doesn't. She doesn't. The investigator doesn't want her to tell, and she's like, you know, you don't know who I am. You don't know what I'm about. And then he has this envelope. Which
No, Safi, you're jumping ahead again. Damn it.
Okay, never mind.
That doesn't happen yet until the end of the episode.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway.
Okay. I'm gonna do the review now. Okay, so they willingly cover up this death that happens in the White House of the secretary. The First Lady, she sees nothing wrong with covering up a murder. And for some reason, they have to cover up this murder from the president. It makes no sense at all. It's completely just contrived bullshit. It's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard of. It's probably one of the top 5 stupidest things in this entire series. This whole thing where, oh, we've got to cover up the murder. And then they chop up the body into pieces and dispose of the body parts. Like, it's just totally casual and normal for a murder to happen in the White House. And, oh, we just have to clean up after the killer. Are you ready now, Safi? Are you done with your time out?
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Okay,
They hire... Well, the investigator, I guess, hires 2 men who are wearing these jumpsuits.
Oh, you're going to go through it again.
Well, to carry off the body in her antique, well, the White House's antique chest. And he says, I hope you don't miss this antique chest. I'm like, oh my God.
So I hated that. That automatically made me go like, okay, I don't like this episode and I don't like this season. Because that's just stupid. It's stupid, it's dumb, it's idiotic. And then what happens next? They're in Washington. They meet up with the son at this cafe, and he closed down the whole cafe so that they could have it to themselves. And
I think the Secret Service closed it down. I don't know. It doesn't matter. And then he buys all these different drinks.
He buys the entire menu.
Yeah, which was odd.
It was odd because you think, you know, they have a lot of money, but they don't have, like, unlimited money.
No, they don't.
And I don't really think that the president's son would just be able to randomly buy out the whole cafe for this stranger that he's never met before.
Well, and the 2 boys.
Yeah,
3.
the 2 gay guys.
They were allowed.
Trash characters.
She asked that they could come, and he said that was fine. So all 3 came. They shut it down. It was a coffee shop with treats and smoothies and all other manner of things.
So they talk, and he's really into them, and he really likes them, and you know, ooh, what's gonna happen next? Oh, gay shit. And we get and so every time something gay happened, I just got up and I left the room, and Safi had to tell me when it was over because I'm not gonna watch that shit.
Well,
cringeworthy shit.
It just closes off right away because it was the 2 boys. Of course, they're all by themselves, and the teacher and Lexi came to the door. They came in. I guess they went to the store or something.
And there's this really cringeworthy part of the episode where the stupid biology teacher, she's lecturing the two gay guys on safe sex.
Okay, so wait, there's 3 episodes. I guess there's 2 this episode, and last time there was 1. I don't know. It's just it's too many times. This episode with the gay stuff. They're with each other and they talk about it, and then this next time where Lexi and the teacher show up and they're catching them, and then we have another time where teacher decides, well, I think I should talk to them about safe sex. I'm like, oh my god.
And it's like, why
That's
are we
left the room.
Yeah, like why are we watching this in a Chucky show? Like, why is this a thing?
And also, they stopped it themselves and said, I don't think we need to do this.
And this has no relevance at all to anything that's going on.
No.
It's just completely forced agenda shit.
They have a missing girl. They want to go to the White House.
Oh, but you know
trying to find an end to the White House.
You know what's really important, though? Safe sex.
Yeah.
Did she hand them a you-know-what?
Brochure.
Oh, she didn't hand them a other thing?
It's anything but a brochure.
Well, that's pretty weird. She hands them a brochure, but she doesn't hand them a certain thing. Well, it's just weird. It's like, why even give them the talk if she's not going to give them one of those one of those things that I'm not going to say in front of Safi.
Okay, well, anyway.
In front of Safi only.
It made me want to throw something, but I'm not watching it on TV. We're watching it on my phone.
It made you want to throw something at your own phone, which, you've already damaged your phone enough by dropping it and dipping it in water and dropping it in the toilet.
I didn't drop it in the toilet, ever. Heaven forbid.
Spilling your juice boxes all over it.
I don't have juice boxes. I drink Gatorade.
Yeah, you do.
No,
you have juice boxes.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Marco, God, we should stop it. So anyway, now I guess we better go back to the White House because he was invited. I think he invited them to go to this Halloween. I don't know. They're having a party there or something. A Halloween party. I think you dress up in costumes. But before that happens, so they have that, he tells his mom all about these kids and her, and he wants to have them come to this Halloween thing, I guess, or just even come there. And she says, oh no, I don't know who they are. I don't know if we can do that. And so she says, I want to meet with their guardian because he tells them they don't have any, tells her they don't have any parents, that they were killed.
Yeah, so the biology teacher gets to go to the White House just to talk with the First Lady.
First Lady.
And so then what happens is, now this really caught me off guard because, sometimes I really assume that these writers that, they're really bad writers. They're not good at all.
I don't know what they're doing. I really don't.
But sometimes I think, they can't really be that shitty at writing, can they?
Oh, you think they'd at least read some mysteries, maybe watch the old Chucky movies, do something to know that they know how to write a Chucky story.
But they really are. They are really, really bad. And so we get this scene where Chucky is hiding behind the American flag, and he jumps out and he kills the biology teacher
in the Oval Office.
And it's very surprising because they just brought this stupid character back the end of last season, the very, very, very end, and oh, she's dead already. That's how rushed this show is. They bring back a character and then they kill her off after 1.5 episodes.
He suffocated her.
Isn't that terrible writing, guys? Even if you like the show, it's the same thing with last season where they brought in that bully who pretended like he was reformed, and he was like a really creepy, sinister guy, and then they just killed him off in the second or third episode. Like, that was so anticlimactic and stupid.
Yeah, he hid behind the American flag, and she heard some rustling, and she'd been left alone because the investigator wanted to talk to the first lady, and then they're gone. She's gone forever, and so because he has enough time to, he suffocated her with the American flag. It doesn't. I was kind of surprised he could do that. I would think she'd be able to breathe because it's not it should have like mesh. It should be more meshy, and I don't know when there would be a way to breathe. But he might have, maybe he partly strangled her too.
He was strangling her with it because he had to, and
I guess so.
It took a long time.
Yeah, it took, and so she was gone a long time, and then she comes back, surprise!
And that's when we get to the part where the private investigator says, "No, you are going to cover this up with me because I have this blackmail evidence of your husband cheating on you years ago, and even though you might have resolved that issue." That doesn't matter because, the American public is retarded, apparently. Like, is the American public so retarded that
Some of them are.
they can't deal with, like, that they had a relationship issue years ago? Like, that's pretty bad. That's pretty embarrassing.
Well, he goes on that, and apparently, I didn't know this before, maybe it was brought out, and I just missed it. He's the first independent party president.
And I thought that was cool. Like, that was the only good... That and then the kill in this episode were the only good things about it.
Yeah, that was interesting, and so...
Because that's cool.
This blackmail thing would be really harmful.
It would be, I guess, because the stupid...
I don't know.
Because
I
of
don't think so.
Because of the two shitty parties.
She said that they had resolved it because it had happened a long time ago, probably before he was president. Why does that matter?
Oh, because you know what the Democrats and Republicans would do.
I don't know if they do anything.
They would.
I don't. Well,
They're
I don't
fucking.
know. It
They're
depends.
fucking evil. So,
Both of them.
Yeah, both of them.
No.
And so, yeah.
No.
Yeah. And so, this is another stupid thing, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Where is the focus on the kid? Like, that's what that was the interesting part here.
Yeah,
like,
we're thinking like she's their guardian. She is their official guardian. She brought them there. They're from Hackensack. We tried to figure out where they're living. We had no idea. I didn't have any idea. They live in Hackensack, New Jersey. That's not 20 miles from there. That's not a suburb. That's New Jersey.
No, Safi, I mean the kid at the White House. Like, this whole story at the White House, what we wanted to see is the kid. We didn't want to see this stupid story about these idiots covering up murders at the White House. Like, it's stupid.
And we see Chucky hiding in the grate. He go their filtration system, very antiquated, where he could take the filter thing off, and it's like an iron grill ornate thing, and though it's big enough for him to go in there and hide.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable.
And then we're left thinking, finally, since Safi decided to jump around like a leapfrog, she kind of looks like a leapfrog sometimes, too. Yeah, right, Safi?
But wait a minute. Another thing, there was a security guard, not a Marine, but a Secret Service person was standing outside the room when this was happening, I think, when she was getting killed. I mean, come on. And they don't say a word.
And
really,
we're left thinking, though, what's going to happen with the two gay guys and then Lexi? Like, what's going to happen with them? Oh, yeah, and so then we see Chucky calls them, and he tells them that he killed the biology teacher, and this was the funny part. Last season, Jake, I thought that the actor learned his lesson, and I thought he got better at acting after he watched our videos. But what happened was, he started to think, maybe actually making that face was a good idea. Because he starts making that face again, where if you guys don't know, in season 1, he did this every single episode, and it was the most cringeworthy thing ever.
No, every single scene.
Yeah.
In the episode.
Yeah, he would like kind of twist his face to like diagonally,
and move his head a little bit,
and then he would make like a cringing face. Like it's just the most hilariously bad acting thing I've ever seen. And he's doing that again in this season, and it's like, why are you doing that? Like, last season you got better as an actor, and now you're worse. Like, because you're doing that again. Like, why are you doing that? Why are you making that face? Like, that is not good acting. That does not look like you're upset about something. It looks like you're having bad Taco Bell diarrhea. Right, Safi? Like, that is... It was hilarious, too, because I pointed out to Safi, and Safi started laughing. You know?
Well, he just needs to...
He just needs to...
You know how, let's see, dancers will dance in front of a mirror to practice their moves. Even violinists, string players, to improve their posture and the way they hold their stringed instruments. I used to play violin. And, I mean, their bow arm, everything, they practice to perfection. And they stand in front of them. They're told to stand in front of the mirror. He could stand in front of the mirror, and they could do a scene and then watch, or I don't know, somehow coordinate his movements with and emotions with what the dialogue is. Maybe, or do it, not look at the mirror, do the scene and get into that thing where you're doing that face. The words have been said, you're doing the face, and then you turn towards the mirror, and then he would see what it looks like.
Yeah. Well, no, he can just watch the episode and look at and just right. Pause it and be like, "What? God, why did I do that?"
But he could see, because you should be able to feel your face making the I don't know what you want to call it, movement, expression.
I think
whatever.
didn't we call it something like, didn't we call it the Jake face?
Yeah, I think
or something.
So. I think so. And
yeah.
He has clearly gotten older. He looks more mature. Looks like he's been working out. I mean, this is what happens with boys. I know because I had them. They don't look. They look really immature for a while, and then like in the high school, like freshman, sophomore, they suddenly get really tall, and their faces chisel out and whatever. And
what happens with the girls, Safi? Because
they get mature earlier.
To me, it looks like
years earlier.
It looks like they start off looking like sluts, and then they just look like bigger sluts as the years go on.
That's not right. What you were saying.
Well, it's true. They just put on so much makeup, and they look fake and phony. And they just look like they want to be models, but that's never going to happen.
It starts in second and third grade for girls. They
really?
Oh yeah.
I didn't notice that. They start
worrying about clothes.
That's pretty bad.
Not all of them, but I mean, they get mature early. I mean, even myself, when I was 12, I already got my height. I was taller than boys and other girls, and all of a sudden, everybody got taller than me. So,
what was it like for Chucky?
Chucky just stays the same because he's a doll, but he's an enchanted doll.
Yeah.
A demonic enchanted doll.
I would give this episode a D-. I really didn't care for it, except for the kills and then the fact that it's an independent president. So, sorry, it sucked.
We're wondering about, I mean, the kids, how are they going to pay for their meals?
How are they going to pay for the hotel room? This isn't Home Alone 2 here.
Yeah, I know. And there's nobody to help them. Except, I guess, if the president, he doesn't know about it. Oh, that's right. She's not allowed to tell him.
Yeah.
How's that going to go over? How are they going to get home?
Chucky Season 3, Lost in Washington, D.C.
I don't know, but it's, I don't know. know.
What would you give it?
I give it a C-.
Oh.
But I don't like. I don't like this sexual stuff because it's not needed. It's not necessary to the furtherance of the plot. It really isn't.
And it's not necessary regardless because they're children, and so why are they showing that on screen?
Well, whatever. And this thing with
it would be necessary
the
if
guardian getting killed.
It would be okay with me. It would be okay with me if they were adults and they were showing that, but they're children.
No, I don't think it'd be okay with adults. I don't think it's okay with anybody, even if it was Lexi and a boy, because it's not going to help the plot. They have 8 episodes. What are they going to do? How are they going to get him out? And what are they going to do? Anyway, they have no. She gave him. I think she gave him $20 or something. So they could get. I don't know when she gave it to him, but to get something to eat or whatever.
So that they could buy protection. Since that's more important than anything.
There was all 3 of them, and so they could get their lunch, which because Washington, everything is really expensive.
They're supposed
I've been there a couple times.
They're supposed to be behind on schoolwork, and all this teacher is worried about is safe sex.
No, she didn't say anything about their studies, but they were actually.
She did last week.
Yeah, but they were when she was there. At the White House, remember they were doing something talking about history. They were talking about different presidents, like a history lesson.
Yeah, it was pretty boring.
And they didn't want to work on it. They wanted to think about how they were going to try to get into the White House, and what are they going to do when they get there, and then they stopped talking about their studies. So she had to told them what to do or what to study, and they weren't doing it. So.
Well.
Okay. Well, I guess you want to start the next one.
So we'll have to end this one,
okay,
Safi.
Well, so if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Tell us what you thought about the episode, and do you have any ideas about what the writers? It's too late now. But what they could do to further the story? Do you have any story idees?
Get more episodes.
Apparently, they need help. And another thing,
get better writers, get more episodes.
More episodes. Well, how many more episodes? Do you think maybe 2, 3, 4?
I would give
12.
Well, I wouldn't give these writers. I wouldn't give these writers anything. But if I had to say for the sake of the show, I would say 5 more episodes.
Than what they already have.
Yeah. Not these writers, though. I wouldn't give these writers anything.
I mean, heaven forbid if they only had 6, like Dark Winds.
I know.
Oh, God.
They'd already be in the White House by now because they'd have to rush through everything.
Yeah.
Even more.
So, anyway, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.